All right, welcome in. Vikings Vent Line, as you can see right there, presented by our friends at Surly Brewing and also TCL TVs. Hopefully, you are watching games on TCL and drinking some Surly because those things would be nice diversions from the fact that the Vikings lost again today. It's Zolgad, it's Declan Goff. If you're saying to yourself, where's Phil Mackey? Well, he's with family. It's the Christmas weekend. And so we will be taking you through this edition of Vikings Vet Line. And before we give our thoughts on this game, Declan Goff, why don't you go ahead and tell the good folks who aren't familiar with joining the show how they can do so?
Yep, you can do so by sending an email. It's scrolling right across the bottom of the screen right there. It's vikingsventline@gmail.com. I will screen some calls here. I'll get you in queue. Vikings fall to the Rams today, so this is your show. If you have some thoughts, positive, negative, mostly negative, send me an email, vikingsventline@gmail.com. This is your show, little Vikings therapy. Vikings fall to the Rams, so if you want to get on the show, vikingsventline@gmail.com.
Outstanding stuff, Declan. So 30-23 is the final. The last I looked, it's the fourth quarter between the Eagles and the Giants, and the Eagles are, not surprisingly, kicking the crap out of the Giants, and so the Eagles will, record-wise, just simply surpass the Vikings for the seventh and final playoff spot right now in the National Football Conference. This does not mean the Vikings' playoff hopes are dead. It does mean that they have taken yet another hit in a season in which it feels like the hits just keep on coming. Before we get to your thoughts, and as Deck said, this is your show, so we'll take plenty of reaction to this game. This is a maddening game if you're a Vikings fan, not because it's shocking that they lost, but because of how they lost. And you know, let's call a spade a spade. How bad Matthew Stafford was, how bad, how just absolutely baffling Sean McVay's play calling was. That the Rams ran through the Vikings today like they were going to be able to just basically run all day long. And then McVay is calling pass plays for Stafford, and Stafford is throwing the ball high. He's throwing it low. He was simply at times today atrocious. Barr has 2 picks. And one results in a touchdown. Both of them were deep in Rams territory. So really both of them should have resulted in touchdowns. Stafford also threw a pass that was picked off by Xavier Woods, and he threw that into double coverage. I have no idea what he was thinking. The Rams basically kept trying to give the Vikings momentum, and the Vikings took it at times, but the offense couldn't come through, and the red zone trips that end with field goals, including Declan after the first Barr pick, which has to be a touchdown. This was a game that was there for the taking if you are the Vikings, and you couldn't take it, and you didn't. And I really thought throughout the course of this game, I hope the Rams lose just because they deserve to lose. They're playing a stupid game. And look, they've got some great players. Aaron Donald's great. Ramsey's great. So I'm not saying that they're this terrible team, but their quarterback today and their play calling for a lot of this game was simply putrid. And the Vikings had chances to capitalize, and they couldn't. And I guess in some ways, in some weird way, Declan, this is the story of the 2021 Vikings, which is you had your chances. You just couldn't capitalize on those chances.
Yeah, the Vikings, if they would have pulled off this win, I was going to say they're going to have to write a thank you note to Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay, who they were brutal today. They gave the Vikings every chance to possibly win this game with just horrible call. I mean, this looked like Stafford from his early days in the Lions. He was clearly off. He was being reckless. And then McVay just basically treating him like he was had Jared Goff or Bethencourt again. Like it didn't feel right. And obviously, Sony Michel's running up and down this Vikings defense, which is still just terrible. They went out and, Dalvin Tomlinson and Michael Pierce are nice players, but this run defense is still god awful. And they kind of go away from that. And basically the Rams do everything in the power for the Vikings to try to win this game, and they still can't do it. And another a weird performance from Kirk up and down. I thought play calling was strange from the Vikings side today as well. The Rams are a better team. Everyone knew that going into this game. Even though they were on the road, they were 3-point favorites for a reason. And they look like they can still be a playoff team. But in general, a pretty bad performance by the Vikings today, who are, obviously relying on wins here to try to make them stay in the playoff picture. And now they basically have to beat Green Bay next week. obviously should beat the Bears at home to close out the season, but now you're going to need help. Now you're going to need some legitimate help from around the league if the Vikings have to win out and hopefully some other teams lose to give them a little more chance at the playoffs. But just a pretty deflating loss for the Purple today.
It used to be a big deal, Dex, before we get to the calls and the folks who are joining us. It used to be a big deal when an opponent rushed for more than 100 yards against this team. The Rams today, as a team, 159 yards. Sony Michel. Okay, yeah, he's okay. He's not great. 131 yards on 27 carries. And now let me give you perhaps the most damning Rams statistic. And the fact that they are leaving here with a W is absolutely incredible. Matthew Stafford's passer rating was 46.8. I dare you to find me within the last 10 years a Vikings opponent who's beat the Vikings with a passer rating of 46.8. That is god awful. That's not sort of a bad day. That is a terrible day. So yeah, it's disappointing. So let's get to the folks who would probably like to join us on the Vikings therapy and talking about the disappointment of this loss. Oops, Dex, I can't hear you.
Okay, nope, that's on me.
Okay.
If we'll have Ben in Florida kick us off here in just a second, but if you'd like to get on the show, it's vikingsventline@gmail.com. Shoot me an email. We'll pop you on the screen, and we'll have your Bens here. So let's kick things off. Ben in Florida, what's up, man? How we doing?
Hey, what's up? Thank y'all for having me on. I hope y'all had a very good holidays.
You too.
I know a lot of Vikings fans are upset about this loss, but I look on the positive side. There is no question that the Vikings will have a new head coach next year. No question about it. And this kind of felt like the Saints loss last year, except a little bit more competitive. But again, the side of the ball that the coach prides himself on just continued to let the team down in crucial moments. I know they got a couple turnovers, but that was more on the Rams than the Vikings. But if you're the Wills, you are doing due diligence right now on a new head coach and a new GM. It's kind of over. There's no more saving face here. They could go to Green Bay and play spoilers. Green Bay doesn't have the number 1 seed locked up quite yet. And sweeping the Packers would be kind of like here's your send-off party or something like that. But personally, I just think it's over. It's over for Zimmer. It's over for Spielman. And it's pretty much over for Cousins. I'm just kind of ready to start anew. I'm just like completely at peace with where this team is right now. And I need Vikings fans to stop defending Cousins after this game. He was given multiple short fields to get it done, and he didn't get it done. So I really need that to stop.
Well, and I think the key thing here too, Ben, is this to your point. The whole thing's just done. Like it doesn't make sense to defend it, aside from Jefferson, it doesn't make sense to defend players or coaches now because it's just done. It's run its course. It literally has run its course.
Yeah.
Like, and the feeling in the building today was exactly that. Like this place, aside from a few of the god awful plays by the Rams and Stafford, which gave the Vikings some life, this building today was dead. Now, people got excited when the Vikings had opportunities, but from the kickoff, like this did not feel like we were all here to watch a game of a team that might make the playoffs. It just feels like it did at the end of Childress, probably at the end of Les. There just comes a point in time where it is just done. And so like you can defend, like if you're defending things, what are you defending? This team needs a hard reset. So I think you're entirely right, Ben.
Yeah, and I like. There's nothing wrong with that. Just if a team is struggling, it doesn't mean that the ownership is bad. Sometimes you got to shake it up. Yeah. And the Wills, for the most part, since they've owned the team, they see when something needs to be changed, and now is that time to be changed. So, nothing wrong with change. I'm looking forward to next year. New coach, new GM. I'm just open to new ideas because right now, I'm just done with it. Just done with it.
Great stuff, Ben. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah, he brings a good point. I mean, to Ben's point about the ownership, like, just admit that this is over. I don't think the Wilfs are poor owners. I know the Vikings fans have been frustrated for years because they haven't won a damn Super Bowl in their lifetimes, but I don't think the Wilfs are at fault here. I don't look at it as the Wilfs need to sell the team, which I know some of the people in our YouTube comments are saying. Just this is the microcosm of who the Vikings have been this year. I mean, they're good. They hung with the Rams, right? Like, it wasn't like the Rams had them blown out by any means. They gave them every opportunity to win, multiple trips in the red zone for the Vikings offense, who came in today as a productive team in the red zone, but today they couldn't get enough touchdowns on the board. But in general, I agree with them. I don't think it's on ownership, but I do think they have to recognize that the Zimmer Spielman era is done. I
think behind the scenes they have been quietly going about a due diligence plan for months now. I think this has been very, very, very clear since the Dallas game. So I don't think that there's this thought of, it can be saved. But every game like this puts another proverbial nail in the coffin of it's done. But it doesn't take a genius, Dex, to show up at this stadium today and to feel the lack of enthusiasm here and a complete lack of buzz. And if you own this team, say, this doesn't feel right. And that's a big deal. Like when the fans are actively punting on the team and the coach. And I don't think it's not like the quarterback is loved. I think Jefferson is. But I think there's a lot of components to this team that people are tired of. So the Wilfs aren't dumb. The Wilfs are going to look at that and basically say, you know what? We tried. And they did try. And Zimmer tried. And Spielman tried. So, this is not again, I want to say this is not a deal where you're fired, get your ass out of here, pack your stuff. They took their shot. Mm-hmm. It fell flat, unfortunately, the last, 2 years or so.
Mm-hmm. Let's keep it rolling here on Vikings Vent Line. We'll go to Wyatt. Wyatt, what's up, man? Where are you calling
What's
from?
up, guys? I'm calling from Florida, Orlando area. Yep. Declan, you want to do the honors?
What's that?
Fire everyone.
Fire everyone?
Fire everyone.
Fire.
God, I went into the sports bar today still with the head throbbing from whatever the hell that siren was in Chicago last week. And, what was that? Not to get off tangent on this game, but who made that decision? What is that?
It's a really bad siren that should never be used.
Seriously.
That's what it is.
But as far as this game goes, like you said, they gave us every opportunity to win. And I was watching the game with my friend who's not even a Vikings fan. And the play calling was once again, mind-boggling. At the end there, when we started opening it up, it wasn't like they were in prevent or anything. It was the same defense they'd been running the whole game. But just out of nowhere, we start actually throwing the ball, and we finally start moving the ball, and it just really makes you wonder why were we not doing that the entire game? Kubiak's got to go, Zimmer's got to go. It's time for a new change.
And plus the thing too though is Kirk is complicit with this as well, because Kirk's the guy. There's not checkdowns. The playbook does not have check down. That's the QB's call. And so, Kirk, when this team gets down by 10 or 14, Kirk relaxes and he's like, okay, time to check it. And he can. That's the thing that drives you crazy. If this was a talentless hack, you'd be like, okay, he's a talentless hack, but he's not. And so those drives, in fact, the scoring drive that ended with the 6-yard touchdown pass to KJ Osborne, 7 plays, Kirk, 6 of 6 for 74 yards. Oh man, look at that. But of course it comes with your team down, I believe, by 2 touchdowns. And so, so that's the part about Kirk that drives you absolutely nuts. Cause it's not Clint's okay, the game plan today, check down. Now I will say the thing today, and this gets back to the interior of the lines problems, is Aaron Donald. Oh my God. Kirk was like, I got to get rid of the ball. I got to get or run. And in that way, I can't blame Kirk completely. But I do. It is frustrating to watch when this team goes down by a substantial margin in the fourth quarter. You see arm talent wise, and it's where was that? So especially when you see the replays and everything, and Jefferson was open the whole game. It wasn't like Ramsey was locking him down or anything. Jefferson was burning him on. He didn't want to throw him.
Yeah, it was bad, man. And the checkdowns, you're right, were just ridiculous. But all right, thanks guys.
All right,
appreciate it.
Enjoy the Florida warmth, man. Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Ugly.
Let's
man.
Let's keep going.
Keep it going.
Let's keep the therapy session going, man.
Let's go to Eldon in enemy territory. Eldon, what's up, dude?
Hey guys, well, I just finished one of these. I got 2 more in the fridge.
Oh, Eldon.
There you go.
Two thumbs up, Eldon.
But
2 thumbs up.
I had a couple of things. One, is there a thing around the league to just keep Zimmer at the Vikings? So many teams try to give them a score. Because, I mean, watching Sony Mikel like run through everything, and I thought, well, good thing we didn't spend any money on a defensive tackle in free agency for the Pearson Tomlinson turnstile.
Oh.
But then a screen pass to Matson on 3rd and goal. Is it bad? I thought, why didn't you throw that to CJ Ham? Somehow he'd have been 40 yards into the end zone to pick it up.
I don't know.
Or, I don't know, throw at Jefferson. When I'm watching a first down and I'm like, oh, they're going to run. I think Aaron Donald's in the huddle right now. He knows what they're going to do.
Yes.
Something different. It's the same thing, and I hear the same things. Well, I saw an article saying keep Zim. That's the only way they can contend next year. I don't want to contend next year if it's going to be like this. I don't want another heart attack season where I'm just watching every game thinking, how are they going to blow it? I want them to be blowing a game deep in the playoffs. Let's go back to that. That at least feels better.
Do you really want that? Like,
No.
how about this? How about they get to the playoffs and they win there and they get to a Super Bowl the first time since 1977? How about that idea?
That'd be good. And then they beat the Bills to add extra injury to the Bills, so Minnesota feels better.
I like it. The Bud Grant Bowl right there. I think that's a great idea.
Bud Grant and, Marvin Levy can come back and watch. It just the same thing. Cousins is the best quarterback. It's not his fault, or it's not Zim's fault. It's everyone's fault.
Correct.
But Jefferson's out there, and I don't know, maybe Bynum.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the guys are pulling up.
It has, as I will continue to say, it has run its course.
And it was a good
We've
run.
seen and we've seen the best that this, I guess the best way to put this is administration had to offer. Like, we've seen the best, and now that's done. And now it's time. Unless you are Bill Belichick, you have a shelf life. Like, you come home from the store, I buy you a Target to be my coach, and you have a expiration date on your back. And that expiration date has been reached. Doesn't mean you weren't a good guy at one time. You were a, effective hire for quite some time, but the expiration date has been reached. So let's stop defending anyone in particular. Let's accept the fact that this team has some nice components, which they will keep. They're not going to get rid of Jefferson. They're not going to get rid of good young players. But a reset will involve probably a quarterback, for sure a GM, for sure a coach. There are components of this defense that are definitely aging out. And that's life, man. That's life in sports.
One other question. What was with the field goal at the very end? The announcers were all for that, and I watched and I said, get the touchdown. So if you get the onside kick, you don't have to take 3 shots at the end zone. You go 10 yards and kick a field goal.
They figured
I didn't expect them to get the onside kick.
Right. I was going to say, so that's the thing is, did you really think that they were going to get that kick?
Probably if they kick the field goal, because then they can, have a pick 6 to end the game. But the Wilfs should pull a Belichick. They should have pulled a Belichick and said, okay, it's 2020. It was a bad year, but you know what, Zim? Good run. Maybe we should have traded to Dallas, but we're going now before it's any worse.
All right, Eldon, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Enjoy the beer.
Oh, I will.
Best beer around. Surly Furious. All right, Dex, let's keep them going.
Yeah, we'll keep it rolling here. Let's go to Dylan. Dylan, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. Where are you calling
Hey,
from?
guys. I'm calling from South Dakota. Can you hear me?
Yep,
Yes.
we got you. Okay.
Sweet. Okay. So I'm in my car right now because I just had so much anger watching that game. This is the only place where I could just go away from all the sports and just be like, oh, okay, just calm myself, get centered and everything.
Take
like
a deep
that.
breath.
Exactly. And I think you said this, Judd, a couple weeks ago. This season has kind of just been a microcosm of this is a good ride. This has been a really good ride with Zim. It was 2017 was an awesome high. Going down to 18 was a very bad crash, but it's okay. We went up to 2019. We went a little bit of a different hill, but now it's time to get off the ride. It's been good. It's been a good ride. It's been a fun ride, but it's time to get off the ride.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with that, some of the things we saw even today, just we could say the same things. It's all the conservatism and all of that, But my thing, I think you guys were just talking about it. I just don't understand how you allow with getting all that interior depth on the D line, allowing just over 100 yards rushing. It's just so mind boggling to me. I just couldn't get it.
I think that is among the things about the 2021 Vikings that I don't get. Like, I can't explain it. that is the top one.
Exactly.
Like the offensive frustration I get because I think that the play calling has not been great. I think Kirk is Kirk. So like it might be frustrating as a fan to watch that, but I can explain that. And I'm, and you guys probably can explain that too. But how are you this bad against the run?
Exactly.
It doesn't make any bleeping sense. Michael Pierce is a man. He's two of me. Like, how are you this bad? Consistent. I mean, Sony Michel did you today. Sony Michel was like, it looked like Todd Gurley in his prime. I will never understand how this fell apart so badly, especially because we have watched in this town in the last 20 years, run defenses that have been great. Like you don't get a yard, or if you get a yard, it's a hard-earned yard. This one, it looks like you lost 3. You spin out and get 5. So that is to me one of the most inexplicable things about this team is the fact that run defense has been as porous as it's been all season long.
And the thing is I watched last year from around this time was Christmas Day, and we all watched the Saints game, and we all know what happened. Alvin Kamara literally just torched us and stomped us down on Christmas Day and made us all feel like we got coal in our stocking. And I know that Zimmer sat there and looked at it and said, we can't have this happen ever again. And that's why they went out and got all these defensive pieces. And so having this happen game in, game out, you look at all of these running backs that have done this to us the entire year. And you sit there and you're like, how does this happen? It doesn't make sense. Not that Tomlinson and Pierce are not good. They're good. And you can see that they're good. It's just, I don't understand how especially with 2 linemen out for the Rams today. They had 2 and 3 at one point, 3 starting linemen out.
Whitworth was out.
Running.
Their center went out early. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I just don't get it.
All right, sir. Thank you. Calm down.
Thank you, Dylan.
Calm
Appreciate
down. Deep breaths.
Yeah.
It's going to be
guys.
fine eventually.
Appreciate him.
Talk to you.
God, yeah. Yeah, it is remarkable all that money they spent on trying to sew up that, obviously, their defensive line to try to be better against it. And, I mean, it's just as bad as it was last season. You can make a case it's worse.
And the comments that is appearing right now, 3 picks and 7 points, 1 touchdown off that is exactly right, too. I mean, Stafford and the Rams tried to give you this game. They literally tried to give you this game. 2 of those, including the one that you got the touchdown off of, were picked deep in Rams territory. Like that should have been 14 points like that, right?
Yep.
And instead it was I actually think they got a field goal off the first one. So it's probably 10 points, but still the point stands. Like the Rams were trying to give you everything that they could. Like, hey, if you want the game, take it.
Right. It was 10 points. It was
10
points,
but that's still not.
Still unacceptable.
It's got to be 14, at least 14, if not 17. So let's keep going.
Let's do it. Let's go to Austin. Austin, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. Where are you calling from?
Hey guys, calling from Bismarck, North Dakota area.
Okay.
I called in a few weeks back. I think it was the San Francisco game. I love the content, guys. In North Dakota, we don't have a professional football team. We just have NDSU football, who's in the FCS championship every year.
Yeah, good.
UND hockey, so like, growing up as a Viking fan, you kind of, if you expect disappointment, you won't be disappointed type of thinking, And, today, I just have an empty feeling on this season, guys. It's been up and down. It gives you a little bit of positive hope, and then they just knock you down at the knees, and it's an emotional roller coaster. Like I can't explain this empty feeling about it, and you just got to move on. And Zimmer had a good run. He made us legitimate when he was hired. If we hired him in 1993, we probably would have been competitive. Run the ball 3 times. Like when I'm watching the game and I can call the game and what plays they're gonna call, there's a problem there. And I think we missed Dalvin Cook today as well.
Sure.
I believe that if he would have played, he would have had a few flashy plays that could have, offset some of the negatives about Madison. Madison's a good runner, straight line runner. he doesn't have that flash that Cook has. So we missed him today. And I don't want to do something so extreme, but like I showed you guys my Christmas tree a couple of years ago, right? I'm not gonna throw it out, but as you see, it's lit right here. Okay.
Nice. Yeah, that's a nice tree.
So what I'm gonna do here, guys, is I'm gonna unplug this tree.
Okay.
As we are gonna unplug this Viking season, So
it's done. It's officially done. The tree is so like this was it. Not Cooper Rush, not something else, but today officially marks the end of the tree itself as far as the purple hue.
Yeah, and I really I printed some stuff out that Holy Udo was holding somebody behind Kirk Cousins on my ornaments there too, So there's 2 official event lines left. Looking forward to them,
So are we?
I'm still gonna watch the games, but I have no hope.
But just don't invest right now. Come back next year as far as investment goes. Because watch. Wolves.
Yeah,
you're going Wolves. Little Edwards guy. They play what? The Knicks tomorrow. The Celtics on Tuesday. Yeah, hell yeah, go Wolves, man.
Yeah,
I like it.
Appreciate it.
All right,
Austin.
Austin.
Thank you.
Take care. Sorry about your tree.
Unplugs the tree. I still got mine on over here. I'm not gonna be able to flip.
Gotta be honest.
Over, but
I think my final okay, that's probably done. Was Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
I mean, the Vikings have a chance to make the playoffs, but it's that 7th seed, and that team's going to be so bad. I can't take them seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I think Cooper Rush was this isn't working now.
Right.
Like when you lose to that, but again, today, Stafford, it's incredible. So think about this quickly before we get to our next commenter, I guess is the right word. Think about this. Baker Mayfield played terrible here. U.S. Bank Stadium was awful.
Right. Yeah.
Browns won. Cooper Rush, only his mom and a couple college football fans had heard of him.
Yeah.
Started here. He won. Today, Matthew Stafford was probably worse than Baker was here, and he won. Like, think about how hard it used to be for even good quarterbacks to come in here and win games. Like, you saw it, Dex. It used to be incredibly tough. Like, that's just 3 off the top of my head where we're talking about like Rush's the 3rd string guy, I think. And in the case of Baker and in the case of today with Stafford, just absolutely awful. And they won, all 3 of them, 3-0 in this building. Let's keep going.
All right. Let's go to our young fan, Mike here. Mike,
Hi,
what's
Mike.
up, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing okay, I guess. It's kind of hard.
Yeah, it's not easy.
What'd you think of that game?
Disgrace to humanity to even watch it.
It was a tough game to watch. I'm going to give you that.
Yep. I'm
going to side with you on that. This was a difficult game to get through.
Yeah, kind of like the Steelers one. My dad's a big Steelers fan, so that one was hard. I'm like, okay, we're up by 29. We're still going to find a way to blow this, and I'm going to have to listen to my dad for the next.
How old are you? You're too young to be this cynical. You're like me, and I'm 52.
Yeah.
15. So
15.
Wow, you've got a lifetime of this crap.
Yes.
Don't give up now. Like at 15, I wasn't super positive, but not as bad as this. We got to get you back. You see, you're in for good times until at least conference championship games, at which point in time you might not be in for good times. But there's better years ahead. Oh boy, there's better years ahead here.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. My uncle, he's a Packers fan.
Okay.
Brother's a Cowboys fan.
Oh, wow.
You got your families all over the map.
Yeah, man.
Steelers, Cowboys, Packers, Vikings.
Well, Mike, regardless, you hang tight, though. You keep this faith, okay? You keep the hashtag faith, as some people like to say, all right? You keep that going, all right?
Don't take the kid down that road, Mike. No, Mike. It's okay. Just take a deep breath. Come back next year. New coach, possibly new GM. Things will have changed.
I've talked to people, and I'm like, who do you want as your new head coach? I'm like, I'm between Doug Peterson.
Yep.
And then whatever the heck the Dallas Cowboys offensive coordinator is.
Kellen Moore.
That's Declan's guy, Kellen Moore. Young play caller. All right, Mike, thank you.
Good stuff, Mike. Keep it up, man. You
See
can
ya.
do it.
See you
man.
later. Take care.
Awesome. Young fans, young, old fan. Everyone's welcome on Vikings Event Line, Judd.
15
years
though.
old?
15, and he's
Trying to
that
think.
cynical about his team.
All right, so if I was 15, that would have been, I think, 2000.
I was 15. I was 15 for the Les Steckel year.
Yeah,
that
so
was not easy.
I saw T-Jack and Gus Farrat when I was 15, leading the Vikings to a division championship, and then getting their butts. I was at the game in the wild card round against the Eagles, so that's what I got to experience.
Oh, when Tavares started, yeah.
Yeah, when Tavares played one of the most putrid quarterback performances I've ever seen in my entire life.
Dante Samuel, that out route
yes.
didn't work out so well for the Vikings. He jumped it.
It did not. Let's keep it going, though, Judd. Let's go to, is it Kellen?
Yes, sir. Yes, it
What's
is.
up, Kellen? Where are you calling from, man?
I'm calling from Shakopee, actually.
Okay.
Very nice.
And yeah, honestly, at this point, I'm going to sound really negative to everybody, but I enjoy when the Vikings lose at this point because it is just building a cold, hard case for Mike Zimmer, Kirk Cousins, and Rick Spielman to all have no possibility of coming back. And I think what hurts most about this team is that we all live in this what-if mentality. What if we didn't get Kirk? What if we fired Zimmer before? What if we kept Stefanski? Imagine Stefanski with this team right now. Where do you think we would be?
Better, although the end of that game, the Browns game against the Packers, didn't embolden my confidence in Kevin when he was having Baker Mayfield throw like 6 consecutive passes, when much like today, the Packers couldn't stop the run and had Chubb. Like, what's up with these coaches? Like today, what's McVay thinking? Dude, you're running the ball. I know Matthew Stafford's supposed to be good, but like it didn't take a rocket scientist to say he doesn't really have it today, right? Like what? I don't understand these coaches. Why are you going against what's working?
I don't understand either. And I'm also a very big Matthew Stafford hater. Not because I think he's bad, but because I think he's on the same like tier as Kirk, but
Right.
I feel like he has a little bit of leadership intangibles that Kirk doesn't have, and it just gives the perception that he's this much better when it's like, come on, guys, he's not. But Kirk was looking good on the drive. I think we were 13. He was just marching down the field, and I was like, wow, we should keep passing. And then we got close. They started running a little bit. It was getting blocked, and I was like, oh, no, it's over. I was like, we're going to take a field goal. Thankfully, we scored, but then it just happens. The question I wanted to ask you specifically is, let's say we get rid of Kirk, Spielman, and Zimmer. What is the chances that we keep a lot of our veteran defensive guys? Because although we're not the best of defensive team, they're playmakers. They make big plays in key times sometimes.
Yeah, Judd, I'll go first. I think they would still keep Kendricks around for sure. They'd try to still figure out a way to keep Daniil Hunter around. After that, I mean, Judd, I don't know if there's other 2 guys in Penn that I would want to keep around on that defense. Like Harrison Smith, I like, but you're paying him a lot of money for a position that you don't have to be overpaying for necessarily. I think it's Kendricks and Daniil, the only guys that I would have in Penn that I would like to stick around if a new regime came in.
I'd bring back. So if Peterson comes back again, I wouldn't fight that one, because I think he's been solid. Like he's not what he was, but he's not a train wreck. And I like the veteran stability that Peterson brings. Smith, I try if it's possible to get his contract down and keep him, but if he won't, I think there's a decision. But I think the important thing here too is, and this is why change is necessary. I think what you need is a fresh set of football eyes to evaluate this entire thing. Because like I'm not saying, well, Kirk has to go, screw Kirk. What I'm saying is I want new people to come in and say, this is what we need to do. Like this is our direction. Because Kellen, I'm convinced if you do this right, this doesn't have to be like some 5-year, the Vikings are 2 wins, 3 wins, 2 wins. Like this league, this conference, you can affect change and be good fairly quickly. So but I've lost confidence in the current GM coach. And so that's where I want someone to come in, or 2 people or a new staff to come in and be like, here's what we need to do. So it's not that important, like personally, what I think, as much as for competent, fresh people, regime, as you said, to come in and decide these are the changes. And if they say, you know what, Kirk, not going to work, I would say, okay, that's cool. because I feel like this has become spinning your wheels over and over and over again.
All right. Well, one last question, I guess, for me.
Yes.
What would your ideal quarterback situation be for the next season? Let Kellen Mond take a chance at it and go on kind of a mini rebuild, sign a veteran at a cheap price, or make a big splash trade for maybe Deshaun Watson. That's what I've always wanted.
Before we get to that, you, my man, have won our Surly event of the night. Okay.
Woo!
So here's what you're going to get from my friends Surly Brewing at their brew hall, which is fantastic. 2 appetizers for the table of your choice, and it's for 4. So it's for 4 people,
Nice.
4 entrees, 3 beers per person.
Okay.
And so just what, Dex, contact you or
Yeah, Kellen,
contact
just
him?
send me another email and I'll forward your information to our sales and promo guys. Okay.
Surly
good. Thank you,
Beer
guys.
Hall is fantastic, man. So I would say this on the quarterback question. I would be up for, if you feel that you can find a long-term stability guy, up for that. The problem there is if you acquire a guy who's going to have to be paid, and it's like Kirk again, you got the same problem.
Right.
Your cap gets eaten up. I would prefer to go short-term fix and then eventually, and I know that this might take taking a step back. I would prefer that you be able to draft one and develop that player, and then that's your guy for 4 to 5 years.
Okay.
Now, that's not going to be possible probably in 2022 for sure.
Yep.
It won't. But that's where you hit on that sweet spot, because if you have a guy that can play and is good and is young and is cheap, most importantly cheap, then you can you get guards, right? Like you get all of these positions. The problem since Kirk set foot here, and good for Kirk for being paid, but Kellen, the problem is you've always been trying to find basically cash in the cushions. Hey, how can we pay this guy? How can we pay that guy? Who can be our one big splash? Ideally, you don't have to ask that, but the way to do that is to get a young QB that you can build around and doesn't have to be paid for at least 4 to 5 years. Declan, what's your thought?
Yeah, I'm with Judd too. I think there too, Kellen. I would try to probably have a stopgap option. I don't know if that's like bringing back some veteran that you can just kind of plug in and play for a little bit. I know we haven't heard anything about Kellen Mond, but I'm not just like against him not being the answer to be the Vikings' next quarterback either. I know he was active today for the first time all season out of necessity because Mannion tested positive for COVID. But I'm not just convinced that, because we haven't heard anything from him that he can't play. I mean, the dude was a baller at Texas A&M. I want to see what he can do in the professional ranks, and I want a good person in charge that knows that can get the most out of him. So I would probably lean that way. With Kirk, there's just... Judd said it, there's too much cap being eaten up here, and even if you restructure, you're eventually still got to pay the piper down the road. So I think that's kind of where I would go with it.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you, Kellen.
Enjoy. Talk to you later, Kellen.
Yeah, that's a great question, though. I'm sure when, Phil and everyone were back in full tow, that's going to be a great offseason question. What should the Vikings do what is the ideal situation? The ideal situation is, yeah, Kirk is probably back, but not under the cap number he is, right? That would be the ideal, but that's not really possible.
And again, this comes down to, it's why I want new people judging that, though. Because there's a chance that they would come in and say, this guy's a really impressive box score, but he's not the guy. And I buy that completely. I don't look. Matthew Stafford's stats going into today's game are really damn good. And I watched him.
Yeah.
And I've watched him a few times, and I'm underwhelmed every time. And I'm a guy who said, and write that down, preseason MVP. Right. So I thought Matthew Stafford with the Rams is going to be great, and his stats are pretty damn good, but Dex, underwhelmed. Kirk, lots of games, the same exact thing.
Yeah.
So if you get people who basically come in and say, this guy's not going to win, because my feeling is he's not a Super Bowl quarterback. He's not wired. It takes a certain wiring. I don't think Stafford is. I don't think Kirk is. Does that make them bad players? Absolutely not. But if we're talking about winning a Super Bowl, are they the guys? And I think the answer is no.
That's a good question. Let's keep it rolling here on Vikings Vent Line. By the way, this is Purple Daily. Judd Zolgad, Declan Goff here. If you want daily Minnesota sports content, subscribe to our Score North YouTube channel. And if you want daily Minnesota Vikings content, hit the subscribe button right here on this channel. Hit the like button, run Apple, Spotify, and of course, the Score North app for everything, central hub of Score North content. Let's go to Lee. Lee, what's up, man? Welcome to Vikings Vent Line. Where are you calling from?
Hey, fellas. Minneapolis. Love the show.
Ellie, thank you.
And I switched over from K-Fan to you guys.
Hey,
We
appreciate you.
appreciate that, Lee. Thank you very
you, man.
much.
There's so many. I was so heated. It's been what, an hour now. So I guess I'm not that heated anymore. But I did. There's so many things I want to talk about, but I just circled 3 things that pissed me off. The D line, Tomlinson, Pierce. Those were supposed to be our offseason signings, and I don't know what it is with our team. I don't know if it's technique. I don't know if they're, if the other team is just better than us. But I mean, Michelle is just picking his holes up the middle, left, right. It's ridiculous. We don't even look like a professional team out there. It's so embarrassing. And then Mac Alexander, he has been giving up third down plays when the game is on the line. If you guys remember Arizona, he gave up that bomb to Kirk.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about this guy. I'm so glad Breland's gone. He was pathetic. And then I don't understand Kirk why we were in the red zone and it was third down, and instead of throwing the ball, if you have nothing, you might as well just throw it up to Jefferson instead of throwing it into the flats to KJ Osborne, because you're going to kick a field goal anyways. So, right. I mean, he did that a few times this year where it was either third and goal and we were going to settle for a field goal anyways, and he just checked down. It was like, okay, well, what you might as well throw it into the end zone if we're going to kick a field goal anyways. But Kirk is not a gamer. He doesn't seem like he believes. Sometimes he looks disinterested. I don't know what it is about this guy. I don't think it's this guy. So with all these things that I highlighted, I think it really just goes back to, Spielman not being able to, pick out the right personnel for this team. And then with technique and coaching, I don't think Zimmer's the guy. And Kirk, to me, is not the guy either. I heard you guys talking to the last caller about, possibly starting over with Mond. I don't want to wait another 10 years. I mean, I was a teenager back in 98, and my heartbreak in 98, 09, 2017 is too much. I can't do another 10 years of this. I want Russell Wilson here. And I believe that even if we're gonna drop $30,000 a year or $30 million a year to this guy, he's a leader, and I feel like he'll have like the Aaron Rodgers effect where the whole team could suck, but with Aaron Rodgers, you always have a chance. Like my in-laws are all Packer fans, and sometimes I have to sit in Central Wisconsin and watch those Packer games before the Vikings games, and every time I'm watching it, they have a chance. They have a chance, and I think we need a guy like that. We can't go with a guy like Kirk. We need a gamer, and I'm ready for a gamer, and nobody else is available, I think, except for Russell Wilson. If he's no longer interested in playing in Seattle, we need to get Kirk out of here, trade him or whoever to San Francisco, because Jimmy G doesn't look like he's panning out for what's his name's kid. And so I hope that they're still interested in Kirk so we can get rid of him, and we need to sign Russell Wilson. I'm telling you guys. All right.
Do you think? Lee, do you think they're in a place though where that like because when Favre joined in 09, like that was the final piece. The pieces are in place. Yeah. Do you think that the pieces are in place? Like there are certain pieces I like a lot. So don't get me wrong. But I don't know that the pieces are in place for Wilson to step in and for this to be an insta microwave type bang. This team's there. I don't know about that.
I think the pieces are in place because, I didn't fall in love with Jefferson like you have all season until, I don't know, maybe like the fifth week. But this guy he is good. He's really good. And for a competent quarterback like Russell Wilson to be behind center and understand. And one other thing that separates players like Russell Wilson from Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson is smart enough to keep the drive alive. If it's second is short or third is short, he will try and scramble and get that
He's a way
first down and
smarter.
keep the drive alive.
He's a smarter quarterback. Yeah.
He's smart. So imagine his,
That's
his
true.
brain with our guy, the second coming of Randy Moss. Imagine that guy and Thielen, and then getting our young stud tight end. I still wanted Rudolph, but he was getting old. People didn't want him. But imagine just having Jefferson with Russell Wilson. The defense will be licking at their chops, knowing that they have a shot and they'll be interested. I feel like. Sports is so weird. I never played professionally, but just like growing up playing in the backyard, when like there are people that are there are neighborhood kids that are good, and there are neighborhood kids that aren't good. But we need numbers in order to run an 11-on-11 football game, and you know who the best players on that football field is on defense and on offense, and when it feels like the game is over, the regular Joes, they have their head down and they're no longer interested. It's the guys that can actually still make plays. They don't think they're ever out of it. And I feel like with a player like Russell Wilson, the guys on defense can come alive. The guys on offense can come alive. And we don't have that. Kirk is not that guy.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Again, it's ridiculous. I'm talking from I'm not a professional, but we need a guy like that. We've never had a guy like that since Randy Moss, Brett Favre, and nobody else. That's that, or even Case Keenum, as he was not as skillful as Kirk Cousins, but he had that competitive edge. He you could tell that the guys will rally behind him when the game moves on the line. So I just think we need a gamer, but that's all. I don't want to take up so much time, guys. I'll hang up.
Thanks, Lee.
Lee, appreciate you, man.
Great stuff, man. Thank you.
Thanks for making the switch as well.
I love the passion.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome passion. That's why we're here. Yes.
Seeing a comment here from Justin Jefferson after the game.
Yeah.
And from Sam Ekstrom, he said, "I think we should be more aggressive as soon as we get down there in the red zone, but I'm not the one calling plays." And Kirk Cousins, I guess, also disagreed with the thoughts that they weren't being aggressive enough. He thought they were being just fine and aggressive in the red zone. So, again, this is where I think it's very tumultuous with your star wide receiver, man.
Justin saying that you weren't being aggressiveness or you weren't being aggressive enough in trying to find me, Justin Jefferson, which, you know what, when you're a competitor and you're that good, I don't blame Justin Jefferson one bit. I don't blame him. But I think what he was saying is if you're going to basically throw into double coverage for KJ Osborne on the ball that got tipped and picked, then why don't you throw it to 18? Because I'm here too. So I don't disagree with him. I don't disagree with Justin.
Before we continue on here on Vikings Vent Line, I did see people, even from other stations, other fans, saying like Justin Jefferson has to be better today. He misses a route or he had a drop. Like I think if you're coming to the conclusion that Jefferson's having a bad game or having the fortitude to suggest that he needs to step up and play better today, that is so far down the pecking order of reasons. Like, okay, was Justin Jefferson perfect day? No, he wasn't.
He's never going to be perfect. Guys, it's football. You're not going to be perfect. So, but are you going to take advantage of your opportunities? That's the question. And like, there's a very fine line between that was a dumb pass and that was a great pass to a guy who's a great player.
Right.
And like this game is filled with what, Dex? It's filled with mistakes. It's filled with screw-ups, and it's filled with incredible plays that work ordinarily to incredible players.
Right.
So, but if you are saying, well, Justin Jefferson has to do more, come on. That's about – you're right. That's so far down the pole of, okay, what's wrong here? The defense, how about you stop the bleeping run? How about Sony Michelle? So I digress.
Let's keep it rolling here. My guy Parker's on. He's got some shades on. I don't know. Is that from the game or just like your cool guy Parker here? What's up with the shades?
Yeah, cool guy Parker activate. No, I'm kidding. But thank you guys for the call.
Yeah, man.
So like I'm gonna get to Kellen Mond because I'm a huge Kellen Mond guy. I figured I'd bring that energy to the show today.
Hell yeah.
But I'm gonna start with the game. The D line was so pathetic. We get Pearson here. We get Tomlinson in here. So pathetic. I don't know what Tomlinson I don't know. You guys tell me, but like. The dude probably lost like 40 to 50 pounds from last season. because dude was like a tank with the Giants. And I look at him and it's like, I don't know if he's on like the South Beach diet or something, but like he's just not the same run stopping presence that he usually is. So that, and then Pierce, obviously, like when we got him last offseason, he opts out. I was like, oh, like great, like you signed with us and you opt out. But he's been a huge disappointment. And then the offensive line, like I don't care if it's Aaron Donald, they're just getting whipped around. Like Ezra, like last week, he's getting all this like hype, like, oh, like Ezra's turning a corner, this and that, and he just gets bodied like every single snap. So, but like, yeah, I'm like, I watch a lot of college football, and like, if Kellen Mond was coming out in this draft class, like obviously last year was, you know, Mac and Trey Lance, Jay Fields, obviously the top two, but like Kellen Mond would be like a first round pick, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think. Like he'd be right in there with like top 15,
I have no clue.
like
Yes.
Kenny Pickett,
So
Sam Correll,
Interesting.
Malik Willis. Like he'd be right
Yeah.
in there, and it would be like, oh, maybe the Vikings could be in that like 15 spot to take Kellen Mond.
Right.
So, to me, like when it was 20-10, I'm saying like the offense needs a spark. Kellen Mond's active. Why don't we just throw him in there and see what we can do with the guy?
Zim ain't doing
As
that.
crazy as it sounds.
Zim ain't doing that, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Zim's kicking field goals and chewing on the sideline, and that's all he's doing.
That's what I'm saying. And going, like you said, kicking field goals. We had probably, I want to say 3 goal-to-goes, 4th and goal, and we're kicking field goals. And they're like 4th and 3, 4th and 4 to goal, or goal to go. And like, we're just kicking field goals. Meanwhile, our defense giving up 130 plus rushing yards. To me, it's like, I'm a huge Kellen Mond guy, and I just feel like the dude just like kind of sitting there, and he's not going to get utilized until there's new coaching, new regime.
Oh, yeah. Agree completely.
I don't know. I watch you guys a lot. I don't know. Do you guys think Kellen Mond's like the guy, or like do you think he's like the guy? Do you think he's just kind of like a bridge to someone else?
He's not the guy for sure, in my opinion, with this current coaching staff. Like they don't know how they'll say that this is not true, but in my opinion, they don't know how to develop him. There's no way. So like, I think he is now probably they're like, learn the offense, work on the reps. But I don't think he's going to have a chance to truly succeed in this league, if he does, until he gets a coaching staff that understands him. But this coaching staff won't. And like, they can barely offensively work with the players who are starters, right? Like they don't develop them. So are you really going to take this QB who is 1000% different than Kirk and develop him? No way. So I think the only hope for Mond, and Dex might be right. I mean, Mond might be a guy, but the only hope for that to come to fruition is for somebody else to come in and say, here's what we're going to do. Like if Clint comes back, I got no hope. Dex?
Yeah, I'm bullish on him, man. Like I want to know what the hell, like where he's been, and obviously he was a very prominent quarterback at Texas A&M. You know, Chris Sims, and not to say he's the quarterback whisperer by any means, but when he did his quarterback rankings, he had him ahead of both, I believe, Zach Wilson and Mac Jones. Like he was looked at as a possible legitimate quarterback, and I think I even saw, because this upcoming draft is not really, there's not a stud quarterback, and teams will still reach for ones in the first round as it happens there. But I believe the best quarterback in this draft class would have been slated 5th in terms of the 2021 draft class of quarterbacks. So there's not a bona fide stud. You're probably not going to see a guy go 1 and 2 like it's this year with Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson. But I'm with Judd. I want the right infrastructure brought in for Kellen Mond, who clearly was going to be a project from the get-go. But I'm not ready to crown him as the guy. But I do think there's something there. I'm not just going to just pass on him either.
I agree. I mean, when I think of a guy like Kellen Mond, I think of Lamar going over there in Baltimore.
And they changed everything. They changed their entire offense.
Exactly. The zone scheme, I think, could work like a guy for Mond. When you open those holes for Dalvin, then do the RPO, and then he's just off in the. Obviously, Kirk can't do that. Kirk can't even. You can't even like move the pocket for Kirk. At least for a guy like Mond, you can move the pocket outside the hashes. The guy like Kirk, as much as like I've been like a Kirk guy for a while now, but the way the NFL is moving, it's like you just can't game plan consistently for a guy like Kirk, whereas like Kellen Mond, you can move the pocket and do all these things. And like you said, like Lamar, when they drafted Lamar, they had to change everything about their offense. That's what kind of like caught me off guard with the whole Mond selection, because I'm like, whoa, this is kind of like if this is something, it's kind of like a like something that we're not like used to in this coaching staff. Obviously, like they're gonna have to. Obviously, it's not gonna be the coaching staff next year, but like it's a departure from what we're used to, I guess.
Exactly. Thanks, man. Parker, great stuff.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Cheers.
You too.
Yeah, he brings up a good point. I want to know where the hell Kellen Mond is. Like, he's active today because he had to be.
I saw him today.
And they showed him on the side. Like, he had the headset on. Like,
Yeah.
he was fully padded.
He was going through
was
some
relaying
notes when I saw
calls.
him.
He was reading through stuff. Yep. So I want to know more about him too. I'm with Parker. I want to know if he's the guy.
I think he's a guy who is going to throw some practice passes until you actually get at. Again, when you bring in a new staff, they would assess him and they would say, okay, this guy can play or this guy can't play. But if they decided that he could play, Kellen Mond would then have things specifically for him. Think about this. This staff, for the most part, does not come up with anything special for anyone. Jefferson, maybe, but your guy, Kane. Today again, they had him running the football like he weighs 215.
Right.
Run the ball up the middle. I mean, this is a special play. You come up with a package of 5 plays, and you unveil said plays in a game like this. And the Rams are like, oh my God, this guy's really fast, and we didn't see it coming. They literally had this poor guy trying to find like the A gap. And Aaron Donald's like, oh, okay, cool. I'll take one arm and throw him down.
Throw him around. I know.
Is that the kid's fault? Is that the kid's fault? No, it's not the kid's fault. You don't have anything special for a guy like that. It makes 0 sense. Like, you drafted him. He's got a skill set. To expect him to step in and just play all the time and he can pound the rock is foolish. To say, okay, let's unveil some plays specifically for him because he's got this really unique athletic skill set. I always go back to what would the Chiefs do? Because the Kansas City Chiefs would say, let's utilize him in a way that makes sense. How many guys do the Vikings utilize offensively where you say this really fits what this guy does? And his role might expand someday. That'll be awesome. But for now, we've developed something special. Anyway, let's keep going.
Yeah, let's keep it rolling. Let's go to, is it Marno?
Yeah. Hello. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
How are you? Where are you calling from?
Hudson.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. First and foremost, I think this Vikings team is very ridiculous. Honestly, like this O-line, like this interior O-line gotta go. Like we need to keep just Brian O'Neill and Christian Darrisaw because they're our future. So I think the interior, like Garrett Bradbury, he just gets pushed around so many times. It's like ridiculous. Like he gotta go. And then I feel so bad for Ezra Cleveland because like they moved him. He was a tackle. Like he was expected to be a tackle, like a future tackle, and then they move him to guard. Like I don't understand that. Like
I feel you, dude.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, like they have so many chances this game. Like their Rams were like they literally wanted us to win so many times.
Oh God, yeah, 100%. They played a terrible. I mean, Stafford was terrible. He was awful.
He was terrible. Yes.
And they gave them chance after chance after chance, and the Vikings are like, oh no, can't take that. Sorry. And yeah, but if the Vikings were actually in the playoff race at like a 4 or 5 seed, this game would have driven me up the wall. But they're a 7 seed, and the 7th seed just sort of, it shouldn't exist, and like they're not that good. Like it's frustrating to watch today, but I'm so past the point of like the Cooper Rush game drove me nuts, right? Because like that was, you're going to beat Dallas here, and you should. And Cooper Rush is a 3rd string QB. I'm to the point now where I'm not surprised, but it's still maddening. The football incompetence overall that we saw today is just really, really pathetic.
Yeah, it is pathetic. And the other thing is, every time in the post game, I don't like when the players be like, "Oh, we like to fight for one another. Oh, we need to get like find a way to win." Why they always say that? Like that just pissed me off. Like
Lip
Every
service, my man.
post-game they
Lip
say that.
service. It's all just like what they think they should say.
Yeah,
It's a bunch of crap.
yeah.
You're correct.
It's terrible, man. Yeah.
Marno, good stuff, man.
See you,
Yeah.
Marno. Thank
All
you.
right.
Appreciate
All
you
right.
coming.
See
on.
ya.
Take care. Good stuff.
Yeah, it's weird. And
Poor
Justin
Marno.
and Justin Jefferson, you know, a couple more comments coming
Yeah, let's hear
in. This is from Chris Thomason. Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson said he can try to pick up the energy of the team when there wasn't much, but quote, at the end of the day, I can't go out and play for them. This is not where I would want to be if I was a Vikings fan.
Declan, this goes back to the Jefferson quote. Was it 3 weeks ago now? The Jefferson quote about we need to start having fun. They're having no fun. They don't like. Here's the thing, and Marno's point's a great point. This whole thing of, you know, I play for my teammates and stuff. As far as athletic endeavors go, so again, I always want to be very careful to make it clear I'm not commenting on the human beings like away from the field. But as a team, this group doesn't like each other, and I think it's pretty damn clear. Like, I think it's clear. I've seen it before. The Wild had the same thing. It's the same tendencies. They don't pull together. They pull apart. And then just when you think, because they've got some talent, just when you think all hope is lost, they rally. They come back and rally. But it doesn't get you. And like Justin Jefferson's a bleeping superstar, okay?
Yes,
He
sir.
knows what it takes to be a superstar. He's played on a national championship college team, which, by the way, is a professional team. So, like, Justin Jefferson knows what it feels like. He knows what it looks like. He's been there. And he has seen the top of a very hard to climb mountain. And he's looking at this cluster bleep, and rightfully so, saying, this team's having no fun. I can't do it all. And he's right, because, like, look at the opportunities, Dex, today. When Justin Jefferson got chances to make plays, he made some really nice plays. Really nice plays. But he can't make the team. I mean, he's a wide receiver. He doesn't control the football unless it's thrown to him. And so, like, his frustration, while certainly concerning, makes perfect sense. But it's another reason why you have to get a fresh administration regime around him. It's another reason why, if that regime comes in and says, not so much on Kirk, don't say, oh, no, you can't get rid of Kirk. No, actually, you can get rid of Kirk. A lot needs to change. Justin Jefferson is not part of that. But Justin Jefferson's comments are very telling. And when a star player like that 3 weeks or a month ago says, this team is having no fun, that carries weight. Like, that's not well, come on, Justin, have more fun. He is literally saying we can't do what we need to do to be successful, regardless of the talent around me. Take that seriously.
No kidding.
Don't blow that off. Don't think, oh, no, they'll be fine. And don't just say, yeah, but what about but Kirk's my guy. No. If Justin Jefferson is saying, like, he's talking about basically the most important people who run the team. Quarterback's part of that. Quarterback's a big part of that. So,
Totally.
yeah, those comments, incredibly telling, worrisome, but there's time to fix it here. This is not a Mike's
Sure.
coming back, Rick's. So, yeah, let's keep going.
Let's keep going. We have a few more here on Vikings vent line on Purple Daily. Judd Zolgad, Declan Goff here, taking your calls. Let's go to Brian. Brian, what's up, man? Welcome
Brian.
to
Hey,
the
how's it
line.
going, guys?
Good, man. How are you?
Yes. Oh, not too bad. This is my second time calling. I think I called on the first game of the season.
Appreciate that.
Welcome
Yeah.
back.
Oh, yeah. But I just want to talk about I guess mostly the offense. But I just want to say I think nepotism is killing this team. All that does is just shove a guy away that is way more qualified.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to get a QB on a rookie contract. Don't know if it's Kellen Mond. Don't know if it's someone in the first round or something. But that would allow us to keep a bunch of key guys, add more key guys. That would be great. I think Dantzler, he should have started over Breland pretty much all season, because Breland was just terrible. And I don't know why running up the middle is so predictable. And I don't know why we keep doing it over and over against really good D-lines.
Yeah. All great points so far. Yeah, you're exactly right.
Yeah, and I want to say too, like, it seems like every loss, like Zimmer is just like, oh, let's just get back to the basics, figure out who we are. It's like, is all he is like, all he does is teach the basics? Like, is that it? Because there's no like creativity at all.
No, there's not.
Yeah,
that's the problem. It's weird because, and I think he's faking this. I think Mike is trying to insinuate, well, I know what's wrong, I can fix it. But the reality, he doesn't. And look, the team as a whole has gotten away from Mike, which was certainly not the case at one time. You know, there were some good years here. This team, and I don't think they've quit. But I don't think they have any sense of direction, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
because it's not like a bunch of like.
I feel like he's losing the locker room too.
But I mean, what's weird is I don't think that they've quit on Mike, but I do think that the players are like sort of confused. And the comments that Dex read from Jefferson are incredibly telling.
Yeah,
like it's just
he's
sort of
brutally honest.
Pardon my French, dead ass. It's just a dead ass environment. And this is football. Like sports, that's a really bad thing. In football, that's death, right?
Yep.
So
exactly.
I think it's unfortunately just to a point now where you know, they might get in, they probably won't, but I don't care if they do or not.
Yeah.
That's what I've been saying since Dallas. I don't care. If you get in as a 7 seed, the 7 seed's gonna stink. Like that's no accomplishment.
If not
I
getting
think it's
into the
done.
playoffs, like if not getting into the playoffs means that we have a entire regime change, then I'm all for it. It's worth it.
Yeah, and I think if you do, I think you still have to. Like to me, starting with the Cowboys game and possibly before that, Brian, it's far more telling than like, well, we snuck into that 7 seed. Like it's just been. Baker Mayfield was terrible here. He beat you. Cooper Rush is Cooper Rush. He beat you at home.
Yeah. And I went to that Dallas game too, and it was kind of funny because I was in Duluth getting a jersey actually for that game, and I saw a Cowboy there, and he asked if I was going to the game, and I said yes, and he was like, well, he's like, I wish I wish Dak was playing because then it would be a real game, like, but we lost.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Oh, God.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, Brian. Appreciate you joining us. It was good stuff.
Oh, the Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
That will haunt me. I think it was that loss stunk and that stung. I think it was the loss to Dan Campbell, the Lions, that really was like, all right, I'm out.
That was a terrible loss too. Yeah. Well, but I mean, to me, it started for sure with the Cowboys loss and then has spiraled. Yep. And like they come back every once in a while, you know, they beat the Chargers. Oh, that's impressive. You know, they might be back. But I mean, this team has fallen 2 games below 500. Is it 3 times now, Dex?
Right.
4 times. Mm-hmm. And they keep rallying back. And it's like, you can't do that. And each time they do it, it's, you know, I mean, this team still has not been over 500 since some point in the 2019 season, right?
Yep.
Think about that for a second.
I know it's been like 700.
To be clear,
yeah.
The conference stinks.
Correct.
Like the Packers, good for them. They're good. The conference stinks.
It's bad.
It's a bad conference.
We'll keep it rolling here on Ventland. Let's go to Cody. Cody, what's up, man? Welcome
Cody.
to Ventland.
Hey, guys.
How are you?
I'm Jacksonville, Florida. Can you hear me?
Jacksonville, okay. Yeah. Can you hear perfect?
So, perfect. Just want to say I'm probably going to get a lot of heat because I'm basically going to be playing Kirk Stan, I think, here. Not to say I think, I totally agree, overpaid. 100% overpaid for what we're getting. And we're not built for him. But in terms of what this team is, like, I definitely agree, especially these days, that he's the guy that's showing up to work. But when basically the coach hates you, a lot of the fans hate you, you know, I mean, how do you want to show up and be the leader when no one really likes you in the first place? And it sucks because he is talented, 100% talented. But when it comes down to it, I think we're stuck with him next year. I don't think we can go anywhere. And I'm for a new coach, new GM, 100%. But, I mean, nuking this team from orbit, there's too much still here. And I love Thielen. I don't want to waste another year. There's too many good receivers on this team. And I think that next year the O-line should be better. I'm hot on Ezra Cleveland. I don't think he's nearly as bad as a lot of people say he is. Oliota's still a problem. Mason Cole's still a problem. But I think Garrett Bradbury.
Yeah, he's a problem, yes.
Yeah. but I think what you guys said previously, I think it was maybe a couple weeks ago, is totally holds true. That the O line doesn't matter if you have one or two superstars. The weakest link is the big problem. You can have the best guys, but if one of these guys is just the worst in the league, you're going to get killed. And it doesn't play to our strengths because Kirk, like you guys said, is not mobile, not going anywhere. But it frustrates me because he is talented. The last thing I'll say on Cousins, because this is basically just offense focused, the dude is momentum driven. That's what it comes down to. And this is why I think he does so many screen passes. Not that they're good, because they're horrible. They've never worked. But you can see it in the one good drive we had, pass after pass after pass that all link up. It works. So when we have 2 of 3 all run plays for no yardage, and then he's like, okay, I need to do something, and he throws it to someone for 1 yard, he's trying to build momentum, and it sucks because I think he's great. I think he's talented, but we're not conducive of his strategy. It doesn't make sense for him. And I do think in the long run, he's not going to be the solution. It worries me if we extend him because I think there's too much here, but next year he's going to be here. And I hope that they can actually do more with him, because more of those last few drives, please. More of those long drives, more passing. And it stinks because I think part of it is that we have one of the best running backs in the league. We have probably one of the best backup running backs in the league. So we have to run the ball. It's one of our great skills, but it's not conducive of Kirk's talent. So it's just back and forth of, we can't build momentum on this side, but we can't build momentum on that side. We need Cook 100%, and it's the only way the run game plus the pass game is going to work.
Yep. No, and I think your point is right on, though, which is with the whole puzzle does not work. And like, that's the problem. So like that's where my point is, put the blame on everyone, because like there's no one thing that's right. Like if you get rid of Kirk and you bring in a new QB and keep Clint and Mike, it's going to work out great.
It's not. Yeah, you're not saving that 100%.
And because Kirk signed here, because they paid him, an ungodly amount of guaranteed cash, because he took the payday, he really signed in maybe one of the worst places he could have signed.
Yeah.
Like if he had gone with a offensive friendly Kirk Cousins coach, he might have had a chance. But you're right. The coach barely tolerates him. I think that he has talent. I think he's a talented athlete who's not wired great. So to get the most from Kirk, he needs a coach who's an advocate for him, right? Like, who's like, Kirk, we can do this. I'll work with you. Not a guy who 4 or 5 years into his tenure says, okay, let's meet on Thursdays for an hour.
Yeah, no, 100%. So I definitely agree with that.
It's the whole puzzle that just doesn't work, but it's just so clear now that it needs to be broken up. And you've got some nice pieces. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not in this for let's wait 5 years. Let's wait 5 years. I'm saying within a couple of years, I think in this conference, you can be extremely competitive, just not with what you have right now as a whole.
Totally agree. So, totally agree. We should beat the Bears every single time. We should beat the Lions every single time. Shouldn't be a question right now. Packers, I have to watch the Packers-Vikings game with my cheesehead friend next week, so that's going to suck.
Fun with that, Cody.
Yeah, it's going to suck, but, it's going to be a game. But thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.
Appreciate it, Cody.
Enjoy the warmth of Florida.
Yeah, no
all
kidding.
you Florida
excellent.
folks.
We got snow on the way here in Minneapolis in a couple hours.
I got to get out of here. Yeah,
I'm
going to be slipping and sliding.
All right, well, just a couple more here left on Vikings Ventline. Let's go to CJ. CJ, what's up, man? Welcome to Ventline. Where are you calling from?
Hey, calling from Nashville. I want to dig in a little bit about Rick Spielman. I think he's done a really good job politically, right? He's always been, this guy should run for politics because, and I don't know, is he hiding during the games too? Because I feel like if the television screen showed him more, fans would more attack him, but he's done a good job of putting people out in front of him to take the heat. But, go back to all the way to 2011, knowing that he was going to have all the control for the next 10 or 11 years, you give him every resource imaginable, a new stadium, new facilities, these fans keep coming back. I don't know how many fans across the country could put up with what we put up with. It's like a Minnesota thing. We just keep coming back. Most, look what happens when these teams lose, these fans don't come back. So many resources for Rick. And what's kind of funny when you look at Aaron Donald today, he should have been a Viking. Remember, we passed on Aaron Donald. We passed on him because we draft Sharif Floyd the year before, and it's just part of the picture. I don't think Rick has a blueprint. I don't think he went into this and said, you know what? I'm going to build this team inside and out like a good football team. I've got plenty of rope. It's not like I have to just try to win each year. I've got a great relationship with the Wills. I'm gonna be patient and build this team inside, and we're gonna with a blueprint. And I think it's been throwing. We drafted Ponder, and then we chased after Bridgewater, and I think that we missed out on Johnny Football was in there. We traded a first-round pick, panicked, a lot of panicking moves for Bradford, and even Cousins. And so I just think there's been a very poor blueprint from the very beginning. To me, this is all Rick Spielman, right? Who hired Mike Zimmer? We want to hammer Mike Zimmer. Who hired him?
Yeah, Rick did.
So I just think I don't know how Rick has avoided really. This should number one can. I mean, everybody has to go, right? The chemistry's off,
right?
And I've seen at the end of games too, where Kirk just does not engage with his teammates the way he should. He has a leadership problem. He's obviously kind of his personality does not engage one that goes into the locker room the way you'd want to, and that's part of the chemistry problem.
Yes.
But it's all, to me, Rick Spielman. He's got to go, and we have to start with a new GM. To me, that's number one.
I agree completely in the fact that I think you need a fresh viewpoint, a fresh opinion, and look, Rick, the two things that Rick did where you can 1,000 point to it, and the first one actually worked for a while was, Rick and Frazier shared personnel control for a year or 2 years. I think it was 1 year, and the Vikings bottomed out. Rick survived it, got promoted, right? He hired Mike largely based on the fact that the defense with Les became so bad and so pathetic, and the Vikings didn't have a QB. And so what Rick said is, I can't find one, so I'm going to stop him. And in 2014, that actually sort of worked. The rules since then have morphed more and more towards offense. But the second thing that Rick did, if you go back, is Rick said, I have struggled to find what? A quarterback. So I'm just going to go pay the top one that I can find, and a guy who's put up really impressive stats in Washington. And he did that. So he has basically tried to skirt blame and become fortunate by making moves that cover up the flaws. And in this case, it's just bitten him now. But I mean, Mike came in and Mike did a great job. I mean, that defense for a few years was fantastic. It's not now. And unfortunately, I feel like when Rick made the stew and put Kirk in, it really didn't work because what they didn't predict and what they didn't know was how much Kirk and Mike would be different. I think they thought Kirk's going to come in and relieve Mike of his problems on offense because he's just going to be good. And so Mike's not going to have to concern himself like he did with Case, because Mike's fear with Case was he's going to melt down. And eventually he did. But the problem was they didn't take the personality conflict. They didn't take Kirk's issues into account there. And that's where it came apart. And now we're to the point of there ain't no fixing that. You're just not going to.
Absolutely.
So
and
I think that's where things stand.
And I'll finish with this too. I feel under Rick, we've been playing from an underdog role in all the big games. And I think that's because he's really not drafted well in the first round. And if you look at all the way through his career he's had almost 20 first-round picks. How many first-round players that he drafted were on the field today against the Rams team that's full of first-round talent? And it puts you in an underdog role. It was like that in our best run that we had with Case. Undrafted free agent, throwing to an undrafted free agent and Adam Thielen, playing with guys that were drafted in the 5th and 6th rounds. And you can only do that for so long. And I feel like that's been Rick's thing. This team has been playing from an underdog role under Rick Spielman the whole time, only because he misses out on the first-round talent.
CJ, great stuff, man. Thank you.
Stuff, CJ.
Great points. Great points by CJ. He's not wrong.
Yeah, Rick,
he's not wrong.
Rick definitely deserves some blame. Let's go to Randy. Randy, what's up, man? Welcome to Bentline. How are you?
Hey, how are you guys?
Hey, Randy.
Good. How are you?
Excellent.
Oh, just sitting here watching football. Kind of tough Sunday. Used to it at this point, but
what's on your mind?
Can I give a shout out first?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I got my buddies Coulter and Logan. They're huge Vikings fans. We always struggle with this shit, and excuse my language.
It's all good.
But second shout out, do you guys like North Dakota State?
I like them more than UND. Does that help?
Okay. I'm a Montana State fan. I'm in Bozeman, Montana.
Okay.
I want to give a shout out to the Bobcats.
Okay.
We're in the national championship January 8th. Let's
Nice.
hope we can go out and win it. So,
Very nice.
Judd, you should be a big FCS fan. It seems like you should like it.
FCS? That's fine, yeah. I got the Vikings, the Gophers. That's about it for me.
Well,
but I'll root
Gophers,
for your team.
that's tough. Okay.
Oh, tell me, it's the life of a Minnesota sports follower / fan. It's always been tough.
I hear you. So, my question is, why can Kirk Cousins not look like a leader out there? The dude just looks checked out 100% of the time. Doesn't want to lead the team. I don't get it. You got your top running back out.
Yep.
Go out, make some plays, get the ball to Justin Jefferson. Don't throw it behind Osborne. But
yeah, that was not a good pass.
Yeah,
I don't think he's checked out. I don't think that's fair to say. I don't think he is. And look, just because you're a quarterback does not mean that you get this. I don't think he has the leadership gene. How's that?
Yeah, I think that's.
I just don't think he has it.
I don't know who said it earlier on Bent Line, but I think the difference between Stafford and Cousins, which yes, they belong in the same tier in terms of God-given ability and just rankings. I think that is fair to say. But Stafford does have more of a leadership quality. He does. I 100%.
Not fully, but yes.
Right. Yeah.
But Kirk's just not. I mean, Kirk should probably be. What position should Kirk play?
Like not a quarterback on football.
Yeah, like what
tight end.
Yeah,
he should be a tight end.
Okay, yeah, because I mean he just
brain.
doesn't. But I mean you also can't. This again comes back to the Vikings looked at the fact that guys like Kirk do not hit the free agent market almost ever, and the Vikings were like, let's fill the need.
Yeah.
He's going to be statistically and talent wise a step up from Case. He's going to be a guy who I mean the Vikings basically took the angle of let's just get a guy who's not going to, in their opinion at the time, drive you crazy and who's going to be solid and who's going to be good. And I honestly don't think that they vetted Kirk's strengths and weaknesses as a person / quarterback very well. Like, I think they looked at it and said, oh, this is going to work for sure. Yeah, no question. We are. And going back to 2017, going into 18 Dex, they were in their mind set to pop. And so that's the problem though, is that, he's just not a guy. He's never going to flip a switch and become that dynamic personality quarterback who takes control. He's just not.
Right.
It's unfortunate.
Let's wrap things up here on Vent Line, Judd, with EJ. EJ, what's up, man? Welcome to
EJ.
Vent Line. How are you doing?
Man? I'm good. How y'all doing?
Doing good,
Great.
sir. How are you?
I'm good. First, I got a question for you guys, man. So, do you think the season is over, or you think they still gonna get in the playoffs?
Oh, I think that, boy, this one's tough. I think it's over, but that 7 seed is going to be a really bad team. So, it's plausible. I will say this, in my opinion, no matter what happens, in or out, you need to make changes.
Definitely.
So I don't see it as, oh, they got the 7th seed. Now they've saved jobs. I think the same evaluation and changes that are going to take place on the last day or after the last day have to be the same, whether that be January 10th, which is right after the season ends, or a playoff round. I don't think that you can come back with this current formula and justify it. And I think fans will be ticked. And I think fans are done with this current incarnation of the Vikings.
Yeah. Just a couple. I got time to say a couple things real quick.
Absolutely, EJ. Yeah.
Of course you
Go
do.
ahead, man.
And so, first, Kirk Cousins, he's definitely, in order for him to be, to get you to that Super Bowl, to that deep playoff run, he has to have an elite line, man. He can't do it without that. He doesn't have the capability to do it without the line, So that's one thing. That Mike Zimmer and the defense, Mr. Cornerback Guru, the corners have been playing horrible the whole season, man. Cam Dantzler, that touchdown to OBJ, he got shook out of shoes. seems like he can never, he can touch the ball, but he can't intercept the ball, man. It's like you
How
got to
about the
make the
drop?
play. Yeah, the drop, man. It's crazy, Then the offensive line. How many years do you look and see the problem but don't fix it? You know what I'm saying? It's the same story, man. But like I said, hopefully it's coming to an end soon, and the change is coming, man.
How do you sign Kirk and not get him a line that's really damn good? I'll never understand that one. Never.
Give the guy a chance, man. At least give him a chance.
Yeah, exactly right.
EJ,
Thank you, sir.
Great
EJ.
stuff, dude. Appreciate you.
Have a great one.
Yeah. It is amazing, man. I'll save it for statements tomorrow on Mackie and Judd. Sans Mackie, me and you. I'll still be doing Mackie Judd, Purple
missing
Daily.
Phil. It's Christmas time.
He was at a Shell gas station. I saw the missus tweet out of a photo. He was literally in
Not
Arizona.
Not
watching us. I mean, I'll respect him. He showed up to a gas station to watch the dang show. But yes, not on you and I. We're sick of
we're
the head.
here.
It's the day after Judd. It's Christmas season's over. It's officially over, right? Like we have entered the 364 days till the next Christmas. We don't stop. We don't stop here. You and I watched that debacle last year against the Saints, and now it's different.
Great day of sports, by the way. Christmas Day, I'm all in now. Christmas Day, 2 football games, 5 basketball games.
The Browns-Packers game put me to sleep for a good 2 naps. I told you, the Christmas nap. There is no better day to nap than on Christmas, and I was asleep from about 5 to 7:30
the Browns-Packers game was great. Really? You slept through it?
I got slept through 3/4 of it, yeah.
I'm going to unveil tomorrow on Statements an idea to fix one day of the year.
Okay.
I got an idea to fix one day of the year. The wife, I ran it by her, hated it.
Shocking.
She hated my idea, but I'm going to give a hard fix, a right turn. I'm going to turn the sports calendar on its ear tomorrow on Statements. All right. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to our sponsors, Surly Brewing, of course. If you haven't enjoyed a Furious, what are you doing? I mean, come on. Today was a Furious day. And also, hopefully, you will continue to watch football for the rest of the day on TCL. Enjoy more with TCL TVs. Declan, take it home. Go ahead.
All right. Appreciate you guys. This has been Vikings Vent Line, your therapy session. Hit that subscribe button for daily Minnesota Vikings content. Like this video. We're on Apple, Spotify, ScoreNorth.com. The ScoreNorth app is a central hub for everything we do. Also, ScoreNorth MN as Judd the Wet Bandit from Home Alone gets his beanie on, ready to go burglarize a few homes, I think.
I do look like what's his face.
Yeah, you got the Wet Bandit look. So we'll be back tomorrow. Statements on Mackie and Judd. Pie chart still on Purple Daily. We'll be talking to you guys.